Hafaday, welcome to Weekend Edition. I'm Tomas Manglonia. Glad you could join us. Where does Acting State Historic Preservation Officer Pat Lujan stand? That was a question as the acting SHPO sat before senators in an oversight hearing. Chris Barnett has more.
The mandate of the office is not to stop projects, but to minimize or mitigate projects in respect to cultural resources that are found.
Acting SHPO Pat Lujan sitting before Senator Therese Terlahi's Committee on Historic Preservation for an oversight hearing. The gist of questioning: how far will the SHPO go to protect and preserve Chamorro ancestral sites and artifacts off and on base?
Asking us to stop development, I don't think that falls in line with our mandate, but to look at what the developers are from a cultural resource standpoint, then definitely I feel that the rules and regs and the laws that are current is efficient. Is sufficient.
The question is not whether we stop all development or we don't. The question is, do we preserve historic sites?
Senator Terlahi said the SHPO has great responsibility to protect historical properties, and she wasn't satisfied with some of Lujan's answers, at one point calling his logic circular.
If we put this much discretion in an office for all the people of Guam and on our future generations' behalf, I mean, I'm hoping that you're going to use your discretion to protect these things for us.
Lujan taking center stage in the wake of the military's handling of ancestral sites and artifacts on military construction grounds. Lujan drawing a comparison to artifacts found at the live fire training range and Tumon, saying even if areas are developed, through the study of sites and removal of artifacts, the island is able to learn about our ancestors. But Lujan did say there was more we could have learned from Tumon sites.
It was not okay in Tumon, and part of that was bulldozed by forces beyond our control. Part of it was, after the war, this is our government that we are just establishing now. And I want to learn from those mistakes that we have made. I don't want them to look back on our Northwest field like you look back on Tumon and say, oh boy, we lost a lot there.
Lujan replacing fired former SHPO Linda Uggan, who was a vocal critic of the military's handling of ancestral sites and artifacts. But Lujan seems to trust the military more, saying at one point the Navy gets how important latte sites at Fena are. A KUAM News report detailed how a new Fena site was discovered by state archaeologist John Mark Joseph. The Navy confirmed part of that site bulldozed during the Cold War.
We know the cultural significance of Fena. And that is, one of probably the highest cultural resource left on island. We're still in place, so we know that, and we're watching that like a hawk's eye.
Is there anything to prevent them from removing the latte like they did in Magua?
Every time I talk to them, I'm like, Fena, that's heavy, that means a lot to us. So in that sense, that, we take that real with, it's very important to our office.
So do you think if it's more important to your office, it's not going to happen? So, Magua was a village also, ancient village, Lati village.
The difference is pretty much the entire island has been touched in one way, shape, or form, especially after the war. Where Fena, we're finding it's still as pristine as it was years ago.
Lujan at one point tried to leave the oversight hearing, but Terlahi advised him to stay since she had already rescheduled the hearing once to accommodate Lujan's schedule. Lujan, however, eventually left the hearing 45 minutes before it was over. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
3 charter bills have been signed into law, and Guam Department of Education Superintendent John Fernandez says he supports the separation of responsibilities because there has been confusion on the proper lines of authority. According to Fernandez, in the past, GDOE was able to provide validation on expenditures but cannot address or correct any actions. He says having partial authority often led to disagreements with charter schools.
If we're not able to fix it, and we might as well hand that responsibility over to somebody else because we have other things that we should be focusing on. So I think the separation is important. I think the other piece about accountability, that looking at the accreditation term, looking at their opportunities to expand, that's a bigger public policy question. It seems that the legislature and the governor are supportive of having charter schools have the ability to be in place and to survive. The biggest question for me is that DOE is no longer going to be part of this issue of trying to hold them accountable, but it's clear that somebody ought to be.
It was early last week when Governor Lou Leon Guerrero signed the trio of bills into law. In other news, Guahan Academy Charter School and the Guam Department of Education come to an agreement on a disputed Tizan facility just in time for the new school year. Julia Santos has more.
So it was a back and forth between the superintendent and I, which actually I would say it's almost a year of this communication, this dialogue.
The two institutions have been negotiating the use of Building E, which is under the purview of the governor. According to GAC's Chief Administrator Judy Wanpat, Governor Leon Guerrero assigned an attorney to facilitate mediation talks. Part of the agreement is for costs of utilities.
We will pay 60% of utilities, water and power, and DOE will pay 40% because there are common areas that we're all going to share, primarily restrooms, staircases, yard space and all that.
GAC's plans on utilizing the space to expand programs for their high school students and, more importantly, fulfill requirements for accreditation. Initially, Wanpat was vying for the use of the ground level because the second level is fashioned with office spaces and the charter school lacks the resources to renovate and install new classrooms. But GDOE says it needs space on the first floor to accommodate Manumco, who will be using the Language Resource Center.
And then I said, well, I have children with disabilities and a staff with a physical disability, so they can't go up. So in this whole process, the attorney has suggested then to Mr. Fernandez, if you really feel that you want both up and down, and we do too, that would you be willing to help out, in this area using only in-house staff? And he agreed.
She says she's happy with the outcome and they're willing to work with GDOE moving forward.
A new emergency phone system may be available by next year. Docomo Pacific has been selected by U.S. telecommunication giant AT&T for the FirstNet system, a safety communications platform designed specifically for first responders. Nestor Lecanto reports.
AT&T has the contract to build out a new nationwide broadband network dedicated to public safety. Docomo Pacific was picked to support the deployment of the FirstNet system in Guam and the CNMI. Company president and CEO Roderick Boss says the rollout could come by early next year.
So AT&T will guide that timeline. We're busy right now, making sure that our network is compatible and that everything is deployed inside our own network to provide the service.
Boss says one of the key features of the system will be its reliability, especially during natural disasters such as typhoons that are common to Guam and the CNMI.
In a big disaster, there's also a satellite deployable that will be one based here in Guam and one in Saipan. And so that they'll be able to have that satellite connection in case the rest of the network gets knocked down or is not working. So it will be, concentrated around the places that they would need, in government agencies, airport, places where you would have a command center and where you need that kind of communication in an emergency.
The nationwide system for first responders is a long time coming. The First Responder Network Authority has been working since 2012 to come up with the best public-private solution.
It really started with after 9/11. In the U.S. and they were the first responders couldn't really talk to each other. Fire and police and Homeland and everyone couldn't really talk to each other. So they decided they really needed a standard platform for everybody to be able to communicate with each other.
AT&T was awarded the 25-year contract, and the company says it will invest about $40 billion to build, operate, deploy, and maintain the network. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Stay tuned. Next on Weekend Edition, we have trend spotting and still to come, the Guam Crime Stoppers report.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus in Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half a day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, I'm Asha Robles, and this is what caught your eye this week on Trend Spotting. Thousands gathered in Hagåtña to experience the Liberation Parade. The parade marks the 75th anniversary of the island's liberation from the Japanese occupation during World War II. Our 7 a.m. pre-parade coverage consisted of a sneak peek at the parade floats, interviews, and musical performances from Eric Borja and the Guam Territorial Band. Many of you wished the island a happy liberation in the comments both on Guam and living elsewhere. The parade was a culmination of an entire month of coverage on the historical importance of liberation. That coverage included rebroadcasts of various TV specials that documented life during the Japanese occupation, interviews with war survivors, our special 3-part liberation podcast, multiple live streams on the unveiling of new liberation memorials around the island, the Manangan Memorial Run, and much more. You can still view all of those items on our social media channels. An arrest on Monday drew the most chatter when 34-year-old Octopus Pui Pui was arrested for indecent exposure, public drunkenness, and disorderly conduct. The man was fully exposed and drunk when police arrested him. Upon arrest, the man provided a number of aliases, including Rambo Rambo, Rambo Milk, Octopus Pui Pui, and Yamoan Rasta. He also provided numerous dates of birth. Pui Pui's extra aliases drew the ridicule of viewers, accumulating over 800 comments and 1,400 shares. Alex pointed out, a lot of birthdays, a lot of names, a lot of hands. I mean, look at his other left hand on the right side of the sign. Yep, he is an octopus. However, even with all the joking aside, many did comment to bring awareness to the growing issue on our island. Dallas Ashley commented, he needs help with his alcoholism. I hope they put him through therapy. Frank also added, please remember, they come from places where they don't live modern life like we do. I bet he is a hard worker, but misled by alcohol. I feel sorry to say I see mainly Micronesian posts. We should acknowledge modern life instead of contributing to bad vibes. On Tuesday, Chris Barnett took to the streets of Jigo to ask residents how safe they felt in the northern village. John Pattis, a resident of Jigo and the spokesperson for the Chukis Association of Guam, addressed the growing concern of criminal activity in the village. He also commented on the importance of parenting in influencing youth. Many of you agreed and suggested other ideas or ways to curb the growing issue. Andrew Terlahi suggested, anyone and everyone is able to apply for a public safety job as long as you meet the minimum requirements and qualifications. Why does the FSM community fear when the cops respond? 1. Either the police are doing something they are not supposed to be doing, or 2. The citizens know they or a family member has broken the law. Mr. Pattis is correct on holding the parents responsible for the juvenile's misbehavior. Crimes involving alcohol, illegal drugs, domestic violence, sexual assaults, and thefts are on the rise and need to be addressed by this new administration. Also, the legislature needs to start drafting up stricter laws. Others expressed disappointment at current GPD coverage. Jays Yamada says, the cops need to patrol, but not just hide in their hideout spot waiting for calls. No calls doesn't mean they have to stop patrolling. They need to do their job. And Joshua says, you can't count on the law to help you. Took them 20 minutes to get there. WTF, your response time sucks. And that's what caught your eye this week on Trend Spotting.
Check out Triple J's spectacular deals going on now during the hot summer savings event. 0 down and no payments for 90 days. Get into a Mazda CX-5 at its lowest price of $19,995 or $152 per paycheck. The big boy truck, the Ford F-150, starting at $282 per paycheck, or the Honda Civic starting at only $176 per paycheck. Triple J says yes. Purchase your next vehicle online at triplejguam.com today. Triple J, customers first.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Okay, we are back, everybody. Welcome to the part of the program where we tell you about how to stay safe. Now, Sergeant Paul Tapau is here right now. Everybody knows him. He's the nicest guy in Guam. That is not the case tonight because he is angry. Word of warning, because, Sarge, a crime happened in our island community right now. You, in fact, took this very, very personal, and it's got you really, really upset.
It has, and it's very unfortunate that it happened. And, you know, with all the efforts in which the Guam Police Department has done with the outreach and, of course, the community policing strategy with embedding ourselves in the community, to hear something of this type of crime involving a community in itself, and I'm talking about the Taitano Apartments along Harmon Industrial Park. You know, a group of thugs, I'm gonna call them thugs, teenagers, actually went in there and they started terrorizing the residents there, asking them, demanding money. Pretty much, I mean, that is really uncalled for, and I think this is the time where we need to understand our responsibilities and our duties as citizens, and to stand up and actually doing what's right and really, really taking ownership of our community.
Okay, some people might think because it was young people that committed this crime, and there were so many of them, that they may not face very stiff penalties, you know, because they're young people, and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, it'll be a slap on the wrist, or they'll go to DY. What punishment do these young people face for, you know, terrorizing is no small joke. That's a really serious crime.
You know, they forget to realize that we can actually upgrade the stature or upgrade the offense. We can actually charge them as an adult if in the event, you know, and this is pretty much, it's written out. This constitutes a felony, you know, a felony degree of a crime, and these kids, these thugs, these teenagers can actually be charged as an adult. So it really, you know, I apologize for my demeanor and everything, but you know, when you hear about it, and you guys did the story, and you know, it really breaks my heart that, you know, all the efforts in what we do, it's really, you know, we want to make that difference, but we're asking the community, and we're particularly asking the parents, you know, be a part of the responsibility of your child. That is your responsibility, and knowing that these are teenagers, these kids, they have to have adult supervision, and you know, everybody asks the questions, where are the parents? And this is where we're going to ask the question, where are the parents in this situation and everything, and where, you know, what we can do, and it's really understanding the crime and understanding what happened. You know, I applaud the efforts and I applaud the bravery of the residents of Taitano Apartments, but you know, we need the help. We need the help from the community in bringing closure to this, because we need to make a statement that we're not going to stand for this as a community and as an island.
And Sarge, perhaps more alarmingly, is we've seen this kind of crime before, and it's very, very unique. Mm-hmm. It's also incredibly scary, because you're talking about, like, sometimes when like apartment buildings, they're an enclosed area. It's a small amount of space, and yet, you know, there's all these residents, many of whom are probably home at that time. All of a sudden they hear something going on, and it's like a hurricane blows in there. You know, it gets stronger and stronger. Yep. People start sticking their head out. You know, you've got elderly people, you've got babies, you've got people who are just incredibly confused. There may be some people that want to take matters into their own hands. If this should happen, perish the thought, in somebody's apartment building and everything, what's the best way to handle that?
Secure yourself, be safe as possible. You know, find safety in your homes. You know, secure, lock your doors and everything, and then immediately call the police. The first thing you need to do is immediately call the police, give them a go-by of what's going on, give a good description. If you're able to capture a video or a picture of them, that's the best evidence in which we can use. We can do the follow-up, but that's emergent threat that we need to address right there and right now, because of the fact of threat of bodily harm, the use of weapons, and of course, the situation that they're in. Secure yourself in the confines of your home, call the police immediately, give them the nature of what's going on, be as detailed as possible, be very descriptive, give information, give a play-by, give stay on the line with either 911 or the dispatcher that you're in communication with, and provide the go-by so that we can actually, responding officers who are responding to that call, actually have a visual and an understanding so that we can actually prepare and we can actually, coordinate our approach, coordinate our efforts in either bringing adjacent units from respective precincts. These are the things in which we have to take into consideration. But for the residents that were experiencing this, the safety of your homes, call 911, call the police, call authorities immediately.
And I've seen that before, because if people call, there may be a police unit that comes like within minutes.
Yep, absolutely.
If even that, or like you said, I mean, there may be a police, they may be doing patrol and they may be right on an adjacent street. 30 seconds later, they're there and they can control the situation.
Yeah, you're spot on. And we have the adjacent precincts of the Agana precinct, we have the Dedado precinct, and of course the responding precinct will be the Tumon precinct. So we can easily, merge the efforts so that we can concentrate our efforts towards that direction. But, we're going to take this case, we're taking this seriously. This is brought to the attention, of course, to our investigators at CID, and we want to bring closure, but we're going to need the help from the community. We're going to need the help from the residents to really provide that information and really understand that what they're doing by reporting this is the right thing to do. And this is what you call taking responsibility. It's not their fault that this happened to them, but what they can do is taking responsibility of their home, their community, by reporting crime, by giving us that accurate information. And it goes twofold, to the parents of the kids. Listen to the report, understand it. If this is your child, if this was your child and you heard about this, whether it be through social media or what you're hearing in the news, please take that responsibility, take that effort, be the right parent, and bring your child in. We know for a fact that they're teenagers. We know for a fact because of witness accounts and everything. Give us that information, please. This is a time in which we can make the difference. This is a time in which we can actually become stewards of our community by providing that information. And, we're asking the parents to dig deep and really find out what they can do to make right of what they did.
Okay, and you've told us this many, many times. If you do want to fight crime, and everybody does, there is no greater weapon than information. So here is what you need to know about the crime at Taitano Apartments.
The Guam Crime Stoppers are seeking the help from the community relative to a terrorizing complaint that occurred at Taitano Apartments in Harmon. Now, preliminary police reports suggest that on Saturday, July 13, at around 7:30 in the evening, 7 male minors, possibly teenagers, armed with knives and pipes, began demanding money from residents of Taitano Apartments and began damaging a door to a unit. The individuals were given money by residents of the apartment in hopes of them leaving with no incident. As a group of thugs were leaving, they threatened the residents not to call the police and began damaging cars that were parked within the parking lot. If anyone has any information about this crime or any other crime, you can call our 24-hour hotline at 477-HELP, that's 4357, or submit a tip online at guam.crimestoppersweb.com. All calls will remain completely confidential, and a cash reward of up to $1,000 could be paid if the information provided leads to an arrest and a grand jury indictment. Your call does make a difference.
Okay, Sarge, I know you were holding back there because you're really, really upset. But I don't know if you guys can see this, but I've known Paul a very long time, and this has got you very disturbed.
It has, because we've, our community partners such as Micronesian Resource Center, Manialo, and we do the efforts. They come out there and they provide the assistance to the community, and to hear about this, and it really is, disheartening to hear that the efforts in which the communities in which we're serving, these are the individuals responsible were identified with the community. So. It breaks our heart, but it doesn't deter us from what we're going to continue to do. This is going to provide us with a baseline in which we may need to restructure our approach and provide us a direction of where we need to address the audience or to address the citizens, and where we can be effective in providing information about making right choices, about decision-making skills, about being better stewards within the community. So. Rest assured, our office and the Guam Police Department and all our nonprofit partners and our community partners are going to continue to do the work. This is not going to deter us from what we're going to do. This is only going to enhance us. And, like I always like to say, it's going to make us more better with all our efforts and our initiatives.
All right. We improvise, we adapt, and we overcome. That's
absolutely,
what we do.
Absolutely. But, again, I'm asking the help of the community. The island is asking the help. So if you have any information, please provide that information to the Guam Crime Stoppers or call our dispatchers at 472-8911.
Okay, Sarge, thanks so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Stay tuned. We're back after this.
If you get nervous about having dental treatment, you're not alone. An estimated 35 million adults experience anxiety or nervousness at the simple thought of visiting the dentist. As your dentist, I strive to make your visit as painless or pain-free as possible. And I frequently tell my patients that in the 21st century, if we can give you medicines to put your tooth to sleep or medicines to take an infection or toothache away, we can surely give you something to help relax you and take all fear away. No one ought to sit in a dental chair thinking of bad childhood memories or fearing injections. If you're a dental coward, but you really do want your teeth fixed, don't wait until the pain is killing you. Come in, tell us your fears, and set up an appointment. We have convinced many that dental treatment doesn't need to be scary anymore. For your helpful dental minute, I'm Dr. Kenny Bourgeois of Paradise Smiles. You shall never know all the good a simple smile can do.
The summer of Jeep, Compass, Cherokee, Wrangler, Cars Plus, and Mighty. Your new adventure starts now. Buy the 2019 Motor Trend SUV of the year and get a new Jeep Wrangler Sport for $268 per paycheck. Or get a new Jeep Compass Sport, only $167 per paycheck. Let them hear you coming in the new 2019 Jeep Cherokee. Buy for $205 per paycheck. And get financing as low as 1.99% on all Jeep models. Come see why you'll be kicking it at Cars Plus in Mighty. Driven by you.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club. Happy birthday to Matthew Christopher Guerrero. Happy 24th birthday. We wish you only the best today on your birthday and always love your family and friends. Also, happy birthday to Josephine Ogden. Happiest of birthdays to Josephine Ogden. We love you. From the family, your awesome and favorite daughter, Joan. And happy birthday to Rafaela Santelices. Happy birthday to Catherine Cabrera. Happy birthday, Auntie Kathy. Thank you for all you do for our family. Love, your great-grandniece, Kayani Joy, and the Cabrera family. Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and your birth date. Well, that's all we have time for from all of us here at Guam's News Network. Thanks for watching and have a safe weekend.
Closed captioning is brought to you by IT&E. Explore your world. KUAM TV